Welcome to Decades of Horror, the classic era.
Ah, my friend, our theory of glandular stimulation through electrical impulses was correct. A few days ago, you were as small as your companion, and now look at you.
This is episode 202, recorded April 27th, 2025.
Gruesome Magazine.
Worst Lugosi ever.
Well,
Yeah, it was the word. That was bad. It was bad. I know it.
Especially after practicing all weekend.
at least you didn't add a few blahs in there.
Yeah.
Blood. Blood. I am your host, Jeff Mohr. On this podcast, we cover the good, the bad, and maybe even the ugly horror films released since the beginning of time through 1969. In each episode, we'll discuss the monster spirit psychos and villains that have haunted movie-going audiences since the dawn of film history.
I like it when he does that.
With me this week are my incredible co-host, Chad Hunt, co-host of Decades of Horror, the all of them, writer and director with Wreak Havoc Productions, and a comic book artist and writer. Chad, it's good to see you.
It is.
And I need a Superman.
Mm-hmm. Don't we all?
I'm looking for a Superman. Also with us is...
Have you tried the Blue Oyster Bar down the street?
The what?
What?
The Blue Oyster Bar down the street.
You're talking Iowa, dude.
I'm trying to help you out here. I don't know.
Try
there's no Blue Oyster Bar.
You said I need a man. That's usually where I send.
I thought I said Superman, but maybe it didn't come through.
There might be one in there. You never know. Some enchanted evening.
Also joining us is Daphne, who is awesome, stupendous, and likable as hell. Daphne, how you doing?
I'm doing really good. I'm excited to talk about glands.
I knew it. I told you guys, pay up.
Yep.
And I see you've decorated with bats for the occasion.
This is my little experiment here.
It used to be little. Now look at him.
Yes.
And
he shrunk back. You missed it.
Yeah.
Also joining us is Bill Mulligan, writer, director, special effects guru, all around nice guy, and a published author
Of Rom.
Yay.
I was shilling this at RavenCon over the weekend.
How'd that go?
A very, very nice con.
Excellent.
RavenCon and JordanCon happened to be at the same weekend, and that's never fun, but it was good to see the folks there. If you've never been to RavenCon in Virginia, definitely a good con and a great location. And we just got word that our film Emotional Support Demon just got accepted into the film festival of Gen Con, which is not one I go to, but it's got apparently I'm the only one because there's 60,000 people showing up to play games. Yeah,
wow,
that's crazy.
awesome.
That's great.
Yeah,
so
that'd
we're
be
happy to
cool.
hear that.
Excellent. I want to remind everybody that Decades of Horror and Gruesome Magazine are partnering with Playdown Media and several of their channels. And in fact, Decades of Horror, the classic era, is on the classic horror movie channel, the classic sci-fi movie channel, and the Wicked Horror TV channel. And we have a promo code you could use if you're a first-time subscriber. It is DOH60, DOH all caps, 60. And what you get with that is 10% off your first payment. So if you sign up for the monthly plan, which is $6.99 a month, you'll get $1.40 off your first payment. But if you sign up for the annual plan, which is $50, you'll get $10 off your first year. So it'll only be $40. You do have to be a first-time subscriber, and you do have to sign up on their website, not on your app provider.
And all that stuff you pay for is whether you like it or not. So just learn to be happy with all of it.
Mm-hmm.
Huh?
Quit your belly aching.
Yeah.
It's good stuff. It's good stuff. I'll tell you what.
It's great stuff. But I just don't want anybody complaining how much free stuff they get and good stuff they get.
Well,
where am I going to put it all? Wah. First world problems.
Well, you can. It's kind of like Tubi. You could just go and start watching stuff, and you get ads, and you'll miss out on some premium content. Or you can subscribe with a email address and a password, and then it will remember you, and you can have a favorites list and that kind of stuff, and remember
Like a
where you
friend.
were the next time you watch the movie. Or you can subscribe with the fee, and then you get everything, no ads. And
But don't get offended if it doesn't remember you.
It's got a lot on its plate.
Yeah, it's got a lot on its mind.
well, then just enter it, your stuff. It remembers you. All right. Oh, Lord. On this podcast, we start by giving some basic details of the film we're covering, followed by each of our first impressions of the movie, then taglines, and then a general discussion of whatever trips our trigger. Hopefully, but not necessarily related to the film. Maybe by 6 degrees of separation.
90% chance of it not having anything to do with it.
Okay, so
I wouldn't even be surprised if we start talking about a completely different movie, because we've done that. So
That
Not
has
this
been known
time,
to
no.
happen.
yeah,
well,
just
especially
hang
when
with
it's
us.
movies like Corpse Eaters. And there's...
Yeah.
that gem. Oh man,
All right. Our movie this week is The Devil Bat, 1940. And
with the
there's our
trash can liner wings.
There's our mad scientist, Bela Lugosi, as Dr. What was his name?
Carruthers.
And
Doesn't he have a brother?
Yeah, it's from the Hungary Carruthers.
Brother Carruthers.
and there's his lab stocked with Kenneth Strickfaden equipment.
Yeah.
Anyway, this is directed by Gene Yarbrough, and we'll get into that. Known pretty well for doing a bunch of comedy stuff. Written by John T. Neville, and with original story by George Bricker. The cast includes Bela Lugosi, Suzanne Karen, Dave O'Brien, Guy Usher, Yolanda Donlan, and Donald Carr. I should have warned people flashing lights and strobes and stuff. So I'll switch to this other one. Filming day or production company is Producers Releasing Corporation. It is a Poverty Row flick. Filmed in October 1940 and released. The premiere was November 11th, 1940. Here, touch the tender parts, he said.
Dab it on with your dainty finger.
And
Not the thick middle ones, the dainty finger.
the mass released on December 13th, 1940. AKA, who feels like trying to French out here? La Chauve-souris du Diable. I just made that up. The Devil Bat. Notte di Terrore, Nights of Terror in Italian. And El
Murcielago
Infernal. The Hellbat in Mexico. A mad scientist develops his gigantic bats to kill everyone who wears it. He what? Wait a minute. A mad scientist develops an aftershave lotion.
You forgot the most important part, the aftershave lotion.
That causes his giant bats to kill anyone who wears it.
It's called high karate.
Yeah.
I guess.
Burma shave.
And here's my one other gif. Poor Suzanne Karen sleeping in bed, and the bat comes and starts screeching out her window. And you know what? I found out what they use to make that bat noise.
A dog.
Didn't that sound like it?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's the screaming goat.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Well.
That sounded like it.
Yeah.
My own personal screaming
I'm
goat.
sorry, I'm eating on camera.
All right. All right. Well, hey, you know what?
What a movie.
This is my pick. I think I got everything in there. This is my pick. And we talked about this in our 200th episode, our favorites and stuff that we wanted to do. And this was one I wanted to do. And I think this was one of Bill's favorites.
Mm-hmm.
He's just shamelessly diabolical. And everybody is really serious except the one cameraman, One Shot McGuire, who's supposed to be the comic relief. But I just love it. I mean, it's cheesy. The bats. I mean, we get lots of bat flying action, which I'm sorry, but I thought it was better than most of the flying bats we see in movies of that time. And I kind of curious as to how they did it, because it kind of looked like they were really flying and swooping kind of thing. And then we get a lot of close-ups of bats. Their little noses wrinkled up and ears. And they kill what? Did they kill 4 people? I think they killed 4 people. Did they kill the sheriff, or did he survive?
No.
Sheriff survived.
He survived, but he was attacked. Okay. So yes, Bela's a mad scientist, and I don't want to take Bill's thunder on this, but just think of it. I found a way to grow giant bats, and my big achievement is aftershave. So I think I'll just stop and go there, but I loved it. And it's got a classic score, a classic horror score of that time, right? I want to hear from Daphne next about the Devil Bat.
Well, I have seen it before, but I couldn't tell you the first time. But I really enjoyed this movie. I love how much Bela Lugosi loves his killer bats, and how annoyed and disgusted he is by every other living creature in the world that he has to deal with. That just makes me happy. And I really enjoyed the sets. They were crazy wacky. I love that you had to go through multiple secret doors to get to the lab. And yeah, it was great. It was so much fun. It was really good.
All righty. Monsieur Chad, when did you
this is the first time I've seen this.
Oh, wow.
And as I was watching it, it reminded me something my dad told me a lot growing up that I always remembered. He said, "I love you, you piece of shit." And that's how I kind of feel about this movie.
Favorite. You're my favorite.
Yeah.
Kid. Right.
Yeah.
It's I love it. I love it. And another thing is, whoever edited this movie, I should have won all the Academy Awards for that year, even Best Actor, Best whatever, because some of those scenes with that switch back and forth from the fake bat to the bat, and it cut after cut after cut, and it was flying through that. And I was like, man, they must have been in like one of those Japanese restaurants, just chopping stuff up on the hibachi there in the film editing bay. But amazing. It was amazing though. It looked great. Bela is good in this. He is just eating up scenery in here as fast as he can. But what did he think would happen?
I know.
I mean, did he think the police would just leave him alone after finding his cologne on 5 dead bodies or 4 dead bodies and not ask him any questions? And it was all the same family and everything. I mean, he was just handing out shaving lotion to anybody that would put their hand out. Here, drink this. Put this behind your ear.
A very unique, strong smell.
Yeah, this stinks.
Why do all the bodies?
It'll go away. It'll go away. But yeah, I love this movie. It's cartoony and fun, and it's a good way to spend an hour if you don't have anything else to do. It's just one of those. It's like an old shoe you put on. It felt like an old shoe. It's just comfortable. Just have fun for an hour and watch it. And some of the things, and I will get on some of the things, but yeah, I really did like it a lot, and glad we watched it. I didn't know it was a Poverty Road flick, though.
Well, just for everybody's knowledge, the editor was Holbrook and Todd, and apparently he was very fast at it because he has
also known as Central City's The Flash.
He has 208 credits as an editor, so he was apparently fast, and he did movies like Hillbillies in a Haunted House, The Beast of Hollow Mountain, the Gabby Hayes Show. I didn't know there was a Gabby Hayes show, but I would have watched it if I knew it.
Of course.
Anyway, and tons and tons of Poverty Row stuff. So thank you, Chad. And now for Bill Mulligan.
I've always loved this movie. I saw it as a kid on Creature Features or Chiller Theater. And it's just one of my favorite old tropes. The mad scientist who he's known for inventing shaving cream, but his side hustle is something that would get him the Nobel Prize, all the Nobel Prizes forever. And yet the only thing he can think to do with this amazing thing that can turn animals into giant versions of themselves is to combine it with his original victory in making shaving cream and create killer bats. And you're like, dude, no, I was with you right up to the end. But man, is Lugosi having fun, and you got to have fun with him. He's the Walter White of 1940. He invented something, sold out for, oh yeah, he sold out for $10,000. And as a kid, I'm like, oh man, they really ripped him off. But then you look into things, you find out about inflation, discover $10,000 back then was like well over 100,000. It wasn't an irrational choice, but it's been eating at him ever since, because they took his shaving cream formula and they went with it. They were, there's signs as you go down the street, Burma shave, whatever. And now a little voice in his head. I'm surprised they didn't make like a little devil appear on his shoulders. Like, that was your formula. Now they're rich. And look at you. What did you get? You got a really cool house with like multiple fake walls and a laboratory for your crazy bat theory, which turned out to work. You got nothing to complain about, but
stone walls on the top floor.
Yeah, a hidden spiral staircase. I'd be happy with a hidden wall or a spiral staircase, and he's got both. And a laboratory with cool Frankenstein electricity going on, But envy, it's a destructive formula there. I'd forgotten about all the extra stuff. Really, it's fine, but the comedy relief and the snappy patter and everything, it's like, yeah. Let's get to Lugosi. When Lugosi's there, everyone else might as well just shuffle off and hide behind the scenery, because he is just so, when he smiles, it's so vindictive. He's joyful. But then, when they're not looking at him, all of a sudden the smile disappears. And it's like, I hate you and everything about you. It's great. It's so much fun. If you can't have fun with this movie, I don't know what to say. I'll always love it.
I agree. By the way, cinematographer is Arthur Martinelli, who had 111 credits, and he also did White Zombie.
Mm-hmm.
But he also did Revolt of the Zombies.
Well,
the yin and the yang, I guess. All right. Well, it's now time for a little thing we do called Taglines with Chad, is played by Chad, his own self.
There aren't many.
Taglines for Devil Bat. Sharp-fanged, blood-sucking death dives from midnight skies.
I
love
it. Yeah, that's
Death,
pretty good.
Death dive, yeah.
Okay. He's trained his brood of blood-hungry bats to kill on command.
These are actually pretty good taglines.
They are.
They're not lying.
And that's been taglines.
Wait a minute, there's a third one.
Yeah.
This is what the movie is about.
And that's been Taglines with Chad.
Chad's our hero, cool and rad. With him reading taglines, they can't be that bad.
So I want you to know, Chad, I don't always pick on you. I pulled like another dozen taglines from the headlines on all those newspapers we saw. But I didn't put them up.
There's a sale on pennies.
These don't sound like taglines. They sound like newspaper headlines.
I always I love to freeze the frame whenever they have those. You sometimes,
I do too.
Not for this one, but you realize that it's the same paper every time. Just the sub headlines, or
I was
Hanukkah, New York, menagerie escapes.
I do that too. I pause them and look for what the other stories are. Or is there a date on this newspaper?
Because it's 1940. I mean, there was some stuff going on.
There certainly was. let's see, where do we go next? Oh, well, we do have some, Bill's worked up some nice stuff for us that we could talk about here. And the poster, which is amazingly good and bad at the same time. I think I just love the green,
Mm-hmm.
and then the bat. You know, you guys talked about this, but I just was dying laughing because he's in his place, his office, I guess, and he goes through a secret bookcase door into a hallway, to go through a secret wall door, to go up the stairs, to go through another secret wall door, to go into his laboratory where the bats are hanging. But then he takes him and brings him all the way back down through all the hidden doors and goes into a room that's right there on his office with a window in it. It's like, there's nothing. Why are we hiding this stuff? You know? Anyway.
I do like this. You're right. It's a bad poster, but I like it, and it works because it makes your eye go from Bela Lugosi to his head to the bat to the title, and then it's like, how the hell did they spell this woman's name? You know, did their fingers get caught on a typewriter or something? I mean, how many A's is Karen supposed to have?
I believe
Aaron.
See, now I'm going to look. Talk amongst yourself for a second.
I think it's pronounced Karen. Is that how it's pronounced?
Well, I heard her. I listened to the commentary on the Blu-ray, and the guy doing the commentary didn't even know. He's like, I don't know if she says Karen or Karen, but he thought maybe she had a Dutch background, so I don't know. And I don't see anything about her parents at all. Oh, her birth name was Sophie Kirschnerman. So I don't know.
Good choice then. Yeah.
The bat looks like two witches leaning over a pot of cauldron that's steam coming out of it.
Yeah, you're right.
To get ahead a little bit, she was married to Sidney Blackmer.
Ooh.
Oh, Sidney.
Yeah. Mr. What was his name in Rosemary's Baby? Ruth Gordon's husband.
Oh,
I didn't know
she was cool.
And he's also in Seventh Victim. He was one of the cult guys. So,
I just like that from this post. You can see there was a time, and this was not a whole lot of years past Dracula, but a whole lot of years past Bella's peak, that he is still the selling point. You know, his name is in big old letters.
So I take that back. I mean, it's a great picture. It's a little gaudy. There's something about it that seems Poverty Row, I guess.
Oh, it's just got one color.
But I do like it a lot. It's very memorable.
This design was pretty popular back around this time. A lot of the posters were pretty much designed the same way, with the big billing at the top, and then the sweeping title across the front, and then the headshots of everybody.
And kind of glowing letters.
Yeah.
Little piece. It's weird because you got Bella, you got the big bat hanging upside down on the bat hanger. I think, I don't know.
Yes.
Although, Frankenstein had electrodes in his head or his neck, depending on which version, but
he's got nipple clamps on his wings.
Yes. Those electrodes are on his fingertips.
I said that because Jeff, I have to talk what Jeff's
you have to talk in my language.
Yeah.
I was thinking they were little miniature jumper cables.
That's what I assumed they were.
Well, they are kind of.
And then the little piece of Strickfaden equipment there, and apparently Strickfaden he kept all this stuff in his garage, and if people needed it, they just called him up and rented it.
The man was a genius.
Cool.
Yeah.
In Ghostbusters, they use a colander for their equipment, so use a wire hanger.
Yeah.
Whatever works.
Use what you got.
And then we have this poster.
Jeez.
The devil bat.
That bat looks very strange. Look at the
bat. Looks like it should be fighting Bugs Bunny in a cartoon.
The title is spread across the bat's wings as it's flying, and
bats are weird little critters, and we all know about them, but we know sort of what they look like. But if someone said, "Draw me a bat," it always ends up not looking anything like an actual bat.
And then
Each
there
species
is,
looks different. There's hundreds of species, and they all look different from each other.
And the ones they used in this movie would in no way, shape, or form ever actually bite you unless you happen to be a banana.
yeah, and just in case you didn't realize they were rodents, it's the hair of a mouse. Isn't that a lot like bats? Yeah. There's and then Suzanne Caron and Bella in the bottom there.
Yeah.
She's almost looks like he's comforting her, but he has kind of an evil look on his face.
He's up to no good.
He's got a shiv.
He's sketchy.
All right. The other one's better. That's the standard one you see everywhere. Now,
this
El
one.
Vampiro Infernal.
Who the bleep is that in the center? What movie is he from? Because they ain't from the Devil Bat.
The Little Rascals.
Oh, I feel bad now. I was going to translate.
It's Mickey from the Little Rascals.
Un gigantesco murcielago produce en muerte. Produce? I don't know.
La muerte.
So a giant bat produces death?
Yeah.
Probably. Okay. Oh, La Muerte.
La Muerte.
Yeah.
And
that
there's
also has
Bella doing his Mr.
a
Wizard
weird
on the
screaming kid that is not in the movie.
Right. Ah.
With a bat in the other corner and
Bella doing his Peter Cushing impression.
Yes.
mixing things at the bottom with
kid's got a good set of chompers there.
Yeah.
He does. And then lastly, this one, which
I like that one.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
It's using
Lot of
artwork
action.
from the other posters, but
got the bat spread across the top. Oh, we actually see a bat attacking a guy.
It looks like they told the actress, look scared. She's like, but
do a dance move that looks like you're scared.
act like you can't hear.
huh? Perfect.
What? Didn't Pee Wee do that in this? He put the giant ear on.
Yes, I think. Well, something like that. I don't know if it was the ear, but yes, I think you were right.
A giant gland, probably.
A huge gland.
All right. Well, you might think this was a standalone flick, but there was actually sequels. Revenge of the Devil. Well, first
That's
the Devil
a
Bat's
recent
daughter.
Yeah.
So I just want to warn people. Devil Bat's daughter was one of the biggest disappointments of my young life because I really like Devil Bat. It's like, oh, he had a daughter. I'll bet she is going to send her Devil Bats out after, the kids who made fun of her at the prom or something. And Devil Bat's daughter is a direct sequel that 100% whitewashes Bela Lugosi in this movie. It turns out he was innocent all along. That's the premise of the movie. They're trying to drive his daughter crazy and she's trying to prove that her dad was railroaded. In the end, she doesn't. And I'm like, the hell? I just watched him kill a bunch of people.
Oh, these are great taglines though. Blood
That's
red
weird.
lips, hungry for love, but cursed by the brand of the vampires.
Yeah, it's got almost nothing to do with Devil Bat, even though it tries to. But
Kind of
So
like
it's like Evelyn Anchors there, but
kind of like
doubt
Curse of
that's
the
her.
Cat People, right? Or
yeah, except Curse of the Cat People is like wonderful, and this is
it's
just
a great movie,
piece
but it's
of garbage. No Bela Lugosi. I don't really.
Well,
remember.
and then there's another one that's a piece of garbage. They made one. I don't know exactly when. I saw 2015. I saw 2018. I saw 2021. Revenge of the Devil Bat. And if you all you gotta do is watch the trailer.
Yeah,
and I don't believe you'll watch the movie.
right. But it's got Conrad Brooks and George Stover, and those are two cool guys.
Yeah,
But
and the first ad that I saw said starring Lynn Lowry.
Huh.
But then I went to the
poster.
actual thing and they went, well, that must have been like one of those Lynn Lowry signs, and then she never did it, apparently, or
Good move, Lynn.
got into it and went, no.
And it's too bad because I would love to make a remake of Devil Bat. And it's in the public. I think it fell into the public domain 3 weeks after they released it because PRC was not even going to invest a stamp in sending something to the copyright office. You can make anyone who wants to can make a Devil Bat movie. And unfortunately, this is the one. At least they did it. I don't blame them.
I'm just
that
looking
guy
at
in-
some of the stills from the other Devil Bat. It looks
Revenge of the Devil Bat.
Yep,
Mhm.
looks interesting.
Oh, I linked the trailer for you.
The trailer does
Oh.
not do what trailers usually do, which is make you want to watch the movie.
No. The guy in the upper right on the poster is preeminent in the trailer. And
Yeah.
Anyway,
Maybe he was
all righty. So there was some sequels. But as we said before, this is a PRC production. And these are a bunch of Bill says you can't spell crap without PRC, but yes, Poverty Row Pictures.
There are a few winners in here, and there's one, I'd say one film in here, legit classic, is Detour.
Yeah.
If you're a film noir fan, Detour is definitely on your list.
It's like about as low a budget as you can get, but it's got the atmosphere and the
We got The Brute
is a
Man,
little
which
bit
gave
classic.
us Rondo Hatton.
Yep.
It's probably more famous after he died than he was while he was alive. It's a sad story, but it's cool.
Ooh, Narange with Buster.
If you
Crabbe.
recognize some of these, it's because when you buy one of those DVDs or whatever, 500 horror movies for 10 cents, all of these are going to be on it because they all went into the public domain. They exist in multiple, usually bad versions. White Pongo, good God, what a terrible movie. But yeah, there's some good ones in here. Flying Serpent is almost shot-for-shot remake of Devil Bat with a less convincing, supposedly a flying snake.
Okay, so no. I actually watched that, and it is very much alike it. Only the thing that you get, it's actually a what is it? Quetzalcoatl.
Quetzalcoatl, yeah.
It has feathers, or there's I didn't quite catch if it was a feather of its prey, but if the bad scientist leaves a feather somewhere near you, then it will attack you. But it looked everything like a giant pheasant tricked out.
Yeah.
With little spines down its back and a little horn on its head.
Gosh.
It was exactly the shape of a pheasant with that same long tail. That doesn't look anything like it on the poster. But anyway.
When you couldn't get Bela Lugosi, you got George Zucco.
Yeah. Real similar. He's hiding Montezuma's treasure.
Now, Jeff, you were talking about, it might be interesting to people how they classified the studios, because I've always heard PRC was the cheapest of the studios.
Well, there was I just did a quick search. Joseph Perry introduced us to Poverty Row stuff with Strangler from the Swamp, I think. Was the first one that we did. And so I kind of had gotten a general idea of it over the years of the movies that we do and knowing which they were. But the primary Poverty Row studios included CBC Productions, Tiffany Pictures, Mascot Pictures, Larry Darmore Productions, Monogram Pictures, Republic Pictures, Grand National Films, and Producers Releasing Corporation. And there was a grouping on Wikipedia by studio size. So it had what they called the Big Five Majors, which was MGM, Paramount, 20th Century Fox, Warner Brothers, and RKO Pictures until the early 50s, when they were run by an insane person and it went down the tubes. And then there was the three little majors: United Artists, Columbia Pictures, and Universal. I didn't realize Universal was in that category. However, as I was going through our list of movies that we've covered, there was a lot of stuff that I thought, oh, this is probably Poverty Row. No, it was a Columbia picture in the 40s. They're, I think Karloff signed up for those 4 Mad Doctor pictures with Columbia in the 40s. Then there's the three three majors, United Artists. Oh, I already said that. And then Poverty Row. On the top 4 of Poverty Row, according to this article, was Grand National, Republic Pictures, Monogram Pictures, and Producers Releasing Corporation.
So that tells you about how the career trajectories of the two guys went. Karloff, when horror kind of hit on hard times, was reduced to making movies for one of the smaller majors, but Lugosi's career just fell off the cliff and he's straight to Poverty Row.
And he did 3 pictures for RKO during the 40s for Val Lewton. So yeah, and we did. I looked. I don't know if I got them all, but we did. As far as PRC, we've done Strangler of the Swamp, Bluebeard with John Carradine, 1944, and Devil Bat. And then we did a couple monograms, 1939, King of the Zombies, and 1941, Invisible Ghosts, which also starred Lugosi.
Which was good. That was a good one.
That was a pretty good movie, I thought. Yeah. I can remember, and then we talked earlier about Republic. If you bought any collections of just what you were saying about how many movies you buy on the collection, only Westerns, they're probably Republic pictures. And they also did a lot of serials, you guys were saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, they did the Adventures of Captain Marvel.
Oh, okay.
Serial, and I think that was one of the most expensive serials ever done.
It's
at the time.
Still holds up. It's fun.
And it's still fun to watch, to this day.
Yeah, it is.
Shazam.
All right. So here we are, frequenting Poverty Row and loving it. And our director, Gene Yarbrough, who apparently frequented Poverty Row too. King of the Zombies. So we've done another Gene Yarbrough picture. We did King of the Zombies. That was one Scott Wells picked.
She-Wolf of London. One of those posters has
London.
different heads, but I don't think that's actually what's in the movie.
The Creeper, House of Horrors. Meet the Creeper, which is another Rondo Hatton.
Yep.
As the Creeper.
And
I don't know about you guys, but my eye keeps getting drawn to hillbillies in a haunted house.
oh yeah, it practically writes itself. It's got John Carradine, so it's got to be quality.
He's just playing a voice screaming from the sky.
Oh, that's Lon Chaney too. Ooh.
Oh,
I always thought he did Gene Yarbrough did a couple of he did 3 episodes of the Addams Family TV show. I always thought he did some Abbott and Costello.
I believe he did. I think
Abbott, all 52 episodes of the Abbott and Costello show.
There you go.
Jack and the Beanstalk, is that Abbott and Costello? I'm not recognizing the other ones, but I don't know that
He had a long career.
He did. I think he was partnered right up there with who was the other one we did? Is it William Bodine?
William One Shot Bodine.
Yeah, I think this guy was like in that category.
Cut, print, next.
He said about directing Lou Costello, it's a simple matter of using child psychology on Lou.
Oh my gosh.
If you try to force him to do it your way, you're going to lose his spontaneity.
Mm-hmm. Just so you know, Hillbillies in a Haunted House is a sequel to the Las Vegas Hillbillies.
Oh.
Either way, I've seen Hillbillies in a Haunted House, and if one of you guys picks that, I'm going to be sick.
Challenge accepted.
Okay, backing out of that one.
Maybe Chad's looking like, ooh, payback.
Isn't that the one with the country westerns?
It's a musical, so that won't make
right.
Chad. Yeah.
Oh, I'm out, man.
You're safe.
I'm out. Yep, I'm out.
Yep. Oh man, he just brought out the jug. He's going to start hooting on it.
I got a Ferlin Husky. Yep.
He's in there?
Yes. John Carradine, Lon Chaney Jr., Basil Rathbone. But it is Merle Haggard.
Merle Haggard?
Oh my God. I thought he was in prison around that time.
And Basil.
Well, maybe it's a scene shot in a prison. I don't know. Anyway. All right. It's not a good movie. All right.
But he's
done a lot of good stuff. I mean, he did 34 episodes of the Guns of Will Sonnet, 11 episodes of Petticoat Junction, lots of My Favorite Martian, McHale's
Oh.
Navy, a lot of comedic series.
Yeah, I mean, he's fast and efficient. I mean, Chad and I have talked about this, that when it comes to like comic book art, people like the stuff with lots of pizzazz and would look nice on your wall and everything, but it doesn't necessarily tell a story.
Mhm.
And then there's some artists, more so back in the golden age and the silver age, meat and potatoes kind of guys. They didn't jump off the page and grab you by the throat, but you could take all the words away and still know what's going on in the story. They told the story. The panels efficiently took your eye from one panel to the next.
Well, yeah, that's similar though, isn't it? I mean, to work in comics and make any money, you have to be pretty damn fast, unless you're one of the big names.
Back in the day, yeah, that was it.
Well, yeah, well, nowadays, if you do a book a month, you're on schedule. But you go back in those days, and guys like Kirby and Buscema and guys like that, they would put out 3 to 5 books a month, penciling, and they just had it as such a secondhand nature thing to do. They were just super fast.
All right.
I told you we'd end up talking about something completely different.
Well, we have Bela Lugosi and
adjacent.
Yeah, it's definitely adjacent. So
I hate that word.
Lugosi in what was he in? Fantasia?
1940. Okay, so because Lugosi was in so much stuff. The man had to eat, and the paychecks weren't that big if you're working for PRC. So he did a lot of stuff. So I'm just looking at Lugosi in 1940. And it's interesting because what you see is you got Karloff and Lugosi in Black Friday. And you can see things are kind of good here because for once they're kind of getting equal billing. Karloff's on top, but at least it's not with Lugosi down the bottom. And that was coming real soon.
Yeah, same
he's in some
and everything.
He's in some legit, non-horror roles like The Saints Double Trouble. And this is so obscure. You'll find out Kay Kaiser,
band leader.
Bibble. Yeah, they made movies about bands. Hey, what would happen if let's follow Glenn Miller's wacky crew and the adventures they have, and
Scooby-Doo hijinks ensue.
Yeah, this is like a Beatles movie, but that's kind of cool. So in Fantasia, he was hired to do the devil, to pose for the devil in the Night on Bald Mountain sequence.
Oh wow!
But I've heard mixed things. He definitely was, and I think there even might be a still or something of him posing or whatever. I seem to recall seeing that. But they say his stuff wasn't actually used. So I don't know. But I can see why they would think that, because the devil is this huge figure and spreads his wings. And Lugosi just had that amazing florid style of using his hands. Even when he was old, he could still do that, that cool, a very theatrical performance and all. So he was paid for it, which is what's important. He was paid, $500 or whatever to stand there and pose and let the animators check him out.
Learn something every day. And I'm pulling this picture up.
I'd say 1940, things weren't terrible for Lugosi, but that was coming. And it wasn't too many years later that they're going to do Abbott and Costello meets Frankenstein, and they originally weren't going to even, thinking about Lugosi for Dracula.
Well, he did
The
Revenge of the Vampire was supposed to be a sequel to Dracula. It never got made. I think Mark of the Vampire too. So here's I think the picture you're talking about.
Yeah, we forget Lugosi was old. Lugosi did Dracula. He was not a super young man at the time, and 10 years later, by the time things are still, he's still being hired. But when they finally, he said, "Yeah, I'll do Frankenstein's monster. I'll do anything." When he did Frankenstein meets the Wolfman, he's a 60-year-old man with all this crap on him, having to do stunts and everything, and he was collapsing. It had taken its toll, and I don't know at which point it was that the pain and the back problems led him to drug addiction and everything. But the fall happened fast.
the announcer or the commentary guy said that his wife said that he didn't start taking drugs until 43. So I don't know if that's true or not. You know, the guy was a film historian. Trying to find. Okay, so this is our 13th Bela Lugosi film. So first one was Dracula, our 20th episode. Then Invisible Ghost, episode 35. The Return of the Vampire, 43. Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein, 44. The Body Snatcher, 66. The Black Cat, 67. White Zombie, episode 76. Island of Lost Souls, episode 98. Plan 9 from Outer Space, barely, episode 107. Son of Frankenstein, episode 121. And The Gorilla, episode 182. The Ritz Brothers.
Yeah.
So yeah, and here's number 13. So The Devil Bat.
I find it so fascinating, the Lugosi and Karloff. You know, these two guys, they started out at about the same time, the Dracula and Frankenstein and everything, and watching their careers. Karloff, I mean, I think Karloff was the better actor in the sense that he had more range. Lugosi was limited very much by his accent and maybe theatrical way of doing things. And Karloff had better roles and better movies and was able to stay at a certain level even after horror had its peaks and valleys, and was able to keep on keeping on and became a beloved figure. But Lugosi very much had a very rapid fall into complete obscurity, really. And yet I just find his roles in these low budget movies more memorable. I mean, I love Karloff, take nothing away from him, and his stuff is great and everything. But for pure fun, a good Lugosi performance, even in a bad movie, is just so watchable. And there's also something almost Shakespearean about his story, the tragic aspect. The only thing I wish is that there had been a redemptive ending, that you know, he had been able to hang on a little longer and maybe be rediscovered, as so many of these people were, and everything, if he'd just been able to hang on. But his body had taken a hell of a lot by the time he was working for Eddie Wood.
I mean, you mentioned his 40s. At 39, he was in The Phantom Creeps, another serial, Son of Frankenstein, The Gorilla, The Human Monster, and Ninotchka.
Ninotchka is a major film. Do I hear a little cat trilling in the background?
My little tuxedo is poking around.
I thought it was a tribble.
Yeah, it's kind of. This one speaks a little tribble.
But lots of movies in the 40s if you seek them out, you know.
That's why I loved it. Like Invisible.
I mean, he was in The Wolfman in 41. Right?
Yeah.
So
tiny role, but yeah.
Chad?
I loved him in Invisible Ghost that we just mentioned a little while ago, because he played like a good guy. And I wanted to see him have more roles like that to show that he was he could do other things besides being this menacing figure. And that'll always be one of my favorite movies too, that he was in, just for that reason, that it was nice to see him play a good character.
I really liked him in Son of Frankenstein. And also Island of Lost Souls. I felt like you got to see a little bit more range there.
Yeah,
also, they were kind of, you know, kooky characters, but he did such a good job in them. Yeah. He gave some reality to these over the top characters. Yeah, I like how you described it, Bill. There is something like there's almost, I don't know if it's like a warmth or something to it. It's just, he makes me feel good when I watch him act.
Especially when he's enjoying himself. You mentioned Son of Frankenstein. That's a great example, because Igor was a minor character, especially even more minor in the original script. And Lugosi he just knocked it out of the park to the point where, if I remember the story right, the director or the producer added a lot more time and everything to have more. You know, we need this. We've got gold here. And the monster doesn't speak and doesn't even have the personality that he had in Bride of Frankenstein. So Igor is really kind of like the monster's voice, and totally carries that picture. It's great.
And there's some really good comedy too in that. I feel like he played a lot of a good natural comedy role part in that too.
No, I think he's a much better actor than he gets credit for sometimes.
Oh yeah,
maybe because of the accent, but his facial expressions and his body language maybe very theatrical, especially in the 30s. But cripes, you look at Dracula, they still didn't really know what to do with sound. Do we add a score? Do we anyway?
I feel like that he. If it was good enough for Arnold Schwarzenegger, it should have been good enough for Bela Lugosi. To have one accent for a multitude of characters.
I loved him in Body Snatcher. I just thought when Karloff he tries to make the deal with Karloff kills him. That's just a heartrending. Speaking of Bella, so let's.
Those glasses.
You like my new glasses?
So happy.
Honestly, if I could cosplay, if I could just snap my fingers as cosplay, obviously it would be Mechagodzilla. But if it was something a little more realistic, something I could pull off, I would be willing to shave my beard, get some goggles like this, and just walk around with a big paper mache bat, wearing a suit. And see.
Perfect.
Now, how many people are going to get it? A smattering. A few people out of 100, but those are my people, and that's okay. I would make them happy. Yeah. And if anyone ever does this cosplay, I will leap across. If I see you at the opposite end of the Marriott at Dragon Con, I see somebody cosplaying as the Devil Bat. I am somehow get out of my way, Spartans.
I'm a Devil Bat attached. With the goggles. Anyway. Yeah, he is so thrilled by this whole thing, and it took me a minute to figure it out. And this is what I love. I mean, he first hooks up the bat and goes out there, starts everything up, and his looks, and you can tell he's a little he's disappointed with what's going on. So he turns everything off, goes back in, twitches a couple dials, come out, turns it back on, messes with the settings again, and then we see the bat's wings kind of going. I don't know if he was supposed to be growing bigger and bigger, and then he gets this big grin on his face like in that shot. He's just
evil genius.
Yeah.
And the bat,
when a plan comes together.
The bat was so big. As far as when you see him, when I realized really how big the bat was compared to it's just like, wow.
Big and totally immobile, but then when they cut to the close-up of the real bat, it's a fruit-eating bat. It clearly was photographed in a completely different background.
Oh, right.
And he's moving around like crazy, like fruit-eating bats do. Where's the banana? And then they cut back to this, totally motionless paper mache thing.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking that might have been stock footage from something because, from some documentary, because it was a totally different look and grain.
It's like they'll do that. You'll see a movie where there's a guy in a gorilla suit, and then all of a sudden they cut to a close-up and it's an orangutan, an actual orangutan. It's not even the same species of ape. And then we cut back to the guy in the gorilla suit. It's like, okay, I guess that established that we have a real thing here.
They do that in war movies a lot. Especially World War II movies. They'll have a shot of, the story is about some certain kind of German tank, and then when they do a battle shot, it's some totally other vehicle or plane.
I hate it in movies where there's a snake, and obviously it's a reticulated Burmese python, but you hear a rattle in the background.
I know. It's just frustrating, isn't it?
I loved how I don't know if you call it meta, but I liked the little jokes when they're making the fake photo and they're like, are you going to get rid of the wires in the background? No one's going to believe this.
One Shot, what's his name?
One Shot McGuire. He wasn't the most, they weren't the two most ethical newspaper guys. It's like they were working for National Enquirer or something.
Yeah.
Hey, we're gonna make a big shot. Get a taxidermist, make a giant bat, put it on a string.
Look at all the bolts he's got in that door. You want to make sure those devil bats
Yep.
don't get out.
Mm-hmm. Secure.
I still was I was dumbfounded by the whole idea of having this 3 secret doors to get to this and go upstairs to get to this room with the bats in it. But then where he's actually making the giant bats, it's just right there off his office with a window in the door.
Yeah.
Anybody can walk out.
And you have to turn the light off for the bat to fly out the window. Otherwise, it doesn't
Yeah.
work.
Well,
You know?
and pull the string to make the window raise up.
Yeah.
Or swing
You know,
up
you
or whatever.
talk about Strickfaden's machines. I think it may have been at a RavenCon years back. There's someone who has still some of these. These things have survived
So
for what,
cool.
almost 100 years now.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
he's still got a few Jacob ladders and stuff. I mean, that was a cool thing. And they pop up in the weirdest movies, like, some real poverty movies. I wasn't Dracula versus Frankenstein. I think they had Forey Ackerman could, if you called him up and said, "Hey, I need some electrical equipment," it's like, I know the guy who still has the original stuff from Frankenstein. Like, well, hell yeah, sure.
That's
Who
great
turned
stuff.
that down?
Flashing lights, some static, and I don't think they don't really even make that noise, do they?
I
know.
don't remember it being very loud.
Yeah, I don't think those coils, when the arc goes up those
Mhm.
antennas, I don't think that actually makes a noise. But you got to have that.
Oh yeah.
You got to have the noise. All right. So our the female lead, Suzanne Caron. I'll buy that, Caron. I thought that was pretty funny. In the lead part, that guy, everybody's talking about them getting married, announcing their engagement, and then she's outside talking to the guy, and she goes, "Oh, but I think of myself as your sister."
What?
The guy goes, "Oh, well, good thing we got that out in the open."
Yeah. Well,
Oh, I know. And everybody's referring to them as lovebirds, and are you announcing your engagement? I know, it's so weird.
I'll keep letting him think that because he's taking me out to dinner every Friday.
yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't seem that upset.
I know, that's it. No, he doesn't. He doesn't. None of them seem that upset. They're best friends, and their brother and that get killed by the giant bats, and it's
Well,
Oh, good stuff.
Friend zoned, brother zoned.
Brother Zone, the worst.
I got mixed up on the number of kills because I got to the part of they go 4th victim, and I go, wait a minute, where was the 3rd victim? And I had to go back and look, and the 3rd victim, all they do is show a guy in his bathroom putting on the aftershave. That's it. You're just supposed to know he
Dead.
took the dust. Yeah. Well, he's dead.
Oh, this is really strong. Yeah, it'll evaporate and not be quite so
Yeah.
stinky. We're gonna put that on the
After
bottle.
you're dead, you won't smell it anymore.
Here, I like to experiment on human subjects before we market it.
I gotta imagine anything that would attract a bat is probably not going to be something you want to have on your body.
Well, it could have
kind
been
of stinky.
Could have been real fruity.
Yeah. Smells
Yeah.
smells like bananas. Mm.
They kept calling it an oriental fragrance, which is
Mm.
those strange. So anyway,
Now we call it soy sauce.
so what else?
It's delicious.
Smells just like MSG.
Yeah.
Suzanne Caron. She has
Oh,
44 credits. Most of her credits end in 1944, except she had a bit part in 1984 in the Cotton Club.
Very interesting.
Back in and I think part of that is probably the studio system.
Yeah.
So from 33 to 44, she did 43 movies,
Dang.
That's a lot of work.
cranking them out.
She was in Three Stooges movies.
Yes.
Was she?
Yes.
Oh,
The movies or
It
the
just says, when I'm looking at it, it just says comedy short films. So
So she
I'm
was
afraid
married
to go
to
look
actor
at
Sidney
Three
Blacker.
Stooges.
Oh, there was another piece of trivia. I got to backtrack to Bela Lugosi, and I have to actually look this up to verify it.
We'll cut this part out.
We might.
Make
But-
it look like we're right on everything.
I swear the guy that was on the commentary said that Bella's first wife, after they got divorced, she married Brian Donlevy.
Not his first wife. I think not his second to last wife. The wife that he had, who he had the son with, Bela Lugosi Jr. She did marry Brian.
Oh, okay.
And that was actually one of the reasons they broke up. She started working as a secretary, and Bela was very jealous, and it kind of wrecked their marriage. And then self-fulfilling prophecy. And then, of course, Brian was also as much of an alcoholic as Bela was. So Mrs. Lugosi did not have a lot of luck in that regard. But I think they stayed. She was married to Brian Donlevy up to his death. Lillian, I think it was Lillian Lugosi. He was married a bunch of times.
He was married 66 to 72. Yeah, Lugosi was married like 5 times, I think, or 4 or 5 times. It lists Bela Lugosi Jr. as one of his children, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, that's what I wanted to do. 66 to 72. And when was she married to?
He made a rhyme.
33 to 53. So there was a spread in there.
He did it again.
Years. What did I say?
Nothing. I'm just
Words.
trying to make Daphne laugh. That's all.
That's hard.
Well, I didn't know that, so I just wanted to mention that. So onward.
He keeps rhyming. Are you a demon?
What did I do now?
Are you one of those rhyming demons?
Etrigan.
So the Frenchie.
Oh.
The maid,
French
which
will
apparently they fall in love over the park bench after meeting twice.
Yeah.
And he's taking pictures of her legs.
Yeah.
Ooh la la.
Yeah. She goes, he says, I want to see a little more. What does he say? Chiffon or something? Or
I don't
saffron
know.
or something. She pulls her skirt up a little higher and she goes, like this? And he goes, yeah, I like that. That was the kind of humor we had. So
Yeah.
her name was Yolanda Donlan. Not a huge career, 25 credits. 25 more than me.
I remember that shot from Reefer Madness. That was quite a lot of fun. Midnight movies.
Yeah.
80s.
Who is
Actually,
that guy?
is that the guy in the middle?
Yeah,
who is that?
he's one of those two guys up there, but you're asking the wrong person if you're asking
really?
me.
That's not one shot, so it must be the other guy.
Yeah.
So he looks different. That's all.
So the lead male, in my opinion, was Dave O'Brien, Johnny Layton, the reporter, and he was in Reefer Madness.
I knew I'd seen him somewhere before.
2 years before this. I was actually thinking we should maybe do that sometime.
Oh yeah.
Reefer Madness.
Yeah, that's there's some.
That's not even horror adjacent.
Oh, sure it is.
It's pretty horrible.
The evils of drug use, the horrors of anyway.
Now, what's evil about it?
It's great. It's great watching that movie if you've ever seen people actually smoking marijuana, because apparently in the 1930s it was a much less potent variety because they're just puffing away like smokestacks and not sneezing or coughing or.
But yet their face and their laughter gets maniacal.
Oh yeah, they go absolutely crazy.
Hey, this is interesting to me. Mr. Dave O'Brien also was a comedy writer for Red Skelton.
Ah,
wow!
In several Red Skelton specials and some short.
Used to watch that as a kid, right after The Wonderful World of Disney.
Yeah. We always loved
Sundays.
Red Skelton. Clem
got
Cadiddle Hopper.
red buttons mixed up though.
Yep, I sure did, didn't I?
You got your red buttons mixed up?
Yeah, his red buttons. I'm thinking the other guy.
Yeah. He was in The Longest Day. I don't know. He's got 200. He's got like 245 credits as an actor, and I just really don't recognize him. Yeah, I think he might just have one of those
faces.
non-distinctive faces that and he plays parts like Jesus. Part of this, he's in a ton of shorts. One of them called The Postman, where he plays postman. Keep It Clean, he plays fall guy.
Were you laughing because you just said he's in a lot of shorts?
I wasn't laughing. Short films.
Okay.
And Wrong Way Butch, he played
He's
Butch.
been in a lot of shorts, especially around Los Angeles.
Enough trivia that nobody cares about. But yeah,
I wouldn't have recognized him as the guy from Reefer Madness.
No.
I wouldn't have either. They look completely different.
Well, that's what reefer will do to you.
That's true.
Let that
You're
be
right.
a warning.
So the guy that plays is that One Shot McGuire next to him, or is that
Yeah.
okay?
Yeah.
In the top shot. Yeah, the Reefer Madness. Look at his face and his eyes. They're like hollowed out like zombies or something.
Might be makeup, or it might just be the reefer.
A reefer.
Devil's lettuce.
I watched that and I was like, I went to school in Florida. Okay.
Yeah.
So I saw a lot of reefer smoking and I didn't see anybody acting like those people were in that movie.
Okay.
Play the piano faster. Faster.
Faster. Smoke's just everywhere.
It just looks like a Cheech and Chong movie.
Yeah. You're that shit Finkelstein kid. Somebody else.
Oh my God. This Donald Kerr, he's got 545 credits.
Ooh.
One Shot McGuire, or 526, I'm sorry.
Probably all the same role, kind of a role he played in here. Smart ass.
Well, it's like, you know, how they ad lib bit, bellboy pager at pool, saloon piano player.
I didn't even think there were that many movies around that time. That's a lot of credit.
There's a lot of movies. They made a lot.
Well, a lot of shorts. They did a lot of short films
shorts.
too. For every movie came with a short film and a cartoon. It seemed like, or
a lot of series that
even when I was a kid, when you went to the movies, we always got a cartoon and then either a short film or a travelogue or something. You know, in 1946, he made like 40 movies.
We think 40 movies. Now, sure, a lot, especially if your role is,
elevator operator.
Elevator operator. That's a one-day deal.
Turnkey, Red Hots vendor.
A lot of these are like if you watch, Boston Blackie and these other series that nobody remembers, he's a detective. He wanders around. He has a lot of sources. A lot of people drop a dime on the bad guys, and it goes to the newsstand vendor. You seen anything, quickie? Okay, that did not take long to shoot, but he got a paycheck. I got a feeling if you had a okay face and you earned a reputation of showing up on time, not drunk, kept your name out of the newspapers, no scandals or anything, you could have pretty steady employment.
Yeah, and you were interesting. You could do things in an interesting way.
Right, snappy patter. Learned your
all
lines.
Right. He does well. Well, and here's the whole point of everything. The bad aftershave.
Yeah.
It looks like they're having a fight. Like he just slapped Bela in the face, but
he just
splashed.
Oh no.
It's called a pimp slap. How do you like that, huh?
Why did you do that?
The turns have tabled. What will happen now?
But I noticed that he would have them put the stuff on and then would immediately shake their hand. So and they'd pat his shirt or something.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. But that was Chad made that point. Whenever he talked to the guy, here, try this. You'll love this aftershave. It's all so good. And he's all smiling, and then he goes, "Goodbye, Don." This is the last time anyone will ever see you.
It's almost, I regret the necessity of this.
I mean, he was going crazy.
That voice in his head was loud.
Distributing that stuff like a kid's lemonade stand. Here,
I love the label on the bottle said aftershave, and underneath it said experimental.
Can't be held responsible for any side effects like soreness, rash, or giant bats tearing your throat out.
Let's see. O'Brien was 28 and Donald Kerr was 49 at the time this movie was shot. So One Shot McGuire was quite a bit older.
Looks like he just got shot in the neck with a dart. I got a pain in my neck right here.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm goiter.
That bat could really smell. But then, how come the other bats didn't swarm too? It's only the giant bats that don't like that smell? Because he let them all out of that thing the first time. Out of his little steeple.
Well,
maybe it was something with his glands.
Yeah.
The special glands. In that, the big guy's special glands. Could smell them.
The glands. It's always about the glands.
It's always about the glands.
Oh, not Donald Kerr, One Shot McGuire, the photographer. He accompanies Flash Gordon to Mars in Flash Gordon's trip to Mars. Anyway, I hear that.
Excuse me, my stomach is.
Come here.
I know.
Feed me.
We just did Critters. I don't know. Maybe. All right. And then we've got Bats.
Star of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And it is true. I thought they did a fairly decent job. I don't have high expectations for PRC.
Well, obviously, it wasn't something where the body's hanging on a string and they just went like this,
right?
And the wings went like that. It was more.
That would be Hammer.
Well, probably more than just Hammer. But, yeah.
Yeah, they actually put a little bit of maneuvering and gliding with these bats.
Yeah, I was actually kind of wondering how they did that. I suppose it was on a wire. I don't know, because there was times where it kind of swooped and changed directions that I was semi-impressed with. All right.
And the scream that you mentioned, that was rough.
Yeah, that was.
That was. Yeah.
Well, I like right at the beginning where he dips that cotton in the bottle and he goes in there and sticks it in his nose and the bat goes. That's all.
That was incredible.
Yeah.
Oh,
Lordy.
such a good movie.
It is. It's a fun movie. What was it? 70 minutes?
Yeah, it wasn't very long.
Yeah.
Swift, efficient, doesn't overstay its welcome.
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't an A feature, it was meant to be part of a double feature, I suppose.
Right.
Anyway. Well, any last comments there about
Oh, this is, it's it's of its type and it's just pure fun. If you like horror movies, if you like old movies, this is a good old horror movie, unpretentious, and just it's great to see Bela Lugosi, knowing everything we know now about Lugosi and his life and career trajectory. It's nice watching him seeming to have fun, being the star, front and center. He's the reason you're here. Without Lugosi, there is no movie. He's much more of a draw than even the title character. It's it's fun seeing the devil bat swooping around, but I'll trade it all for another couple lines from Bela.
Yeah,
just pure fun.
Yeah.
There was a couple things I thought were interesting. One was he goes into that whole monologue when the guy gives him the $5,000. What's this for? Oh, I see, a bonus. And then his brain, he's going, you guys got rich and all you give me is a measly $5,000. Well,
that was your money they gave you.
You gave me my own money. Yeah.
Seething. And again, that would be worth, that'd be like somebody knocking on my door now and handing me a check for $100,000. Even if I thought I deserved more, there's only so much anger I'm going to get over an extra $100,000 in the bank account.
And you can see it working in his brain. Thanks for the $5,000. How would you like to be my first guinea pig?
Yeah, exactly.
My first victim. And then I love this. There's a lot of these old movies do this, and sometimes they do them with the spinning newspaper, but they flash up different newspaper ads to show you. And I don't even get. I guess it's a way of very short-term exposition, maybe. I don't know. In case you missed who that was, son of company owner. Second victim. Let's see. I wrote some of those down. Oh, and then they had a shadow of the bat going across the newspaper page.
It was. Look at me. I'm in the headlines. I'm famous.
Mysterious devil bat kills. Flying death strikes again. Villagers live in fear of the devil bat.
Yeah, that is one thing. Boy, they really jump. They jump to conclusions pretty fast. If I'm here in Sanford, God forbid they find someone dead on the street with his throat torn out. Oh, if the first is there's a man with his throat torn out, I don't start looking at the sky. I'm not sure, but I'm going to bet it was a devil bat of some kind.
He had mouse hairs on it.
Oh, one thing that I liked too was I liked how Bela spilled the beans, kind of exposed his plan when he was talking to one of the head guys. He just kind of lost it. I don't know. I liked the way he did that, and then he kind of, straightened up again.
It's actually kind of cool because they don't, a lot of times when they do that in movies, like the guy that hears it from him, then when Lugosi, he quick calls somebody to tell him, and then Lugosi comes back in and he fakes like, it's something else. And then he acts totally, there's a lot of time in movies, it's like they make him act real sinister and hidey. I'm hiding something, don't. But the guy was, pretty good. And the other thing was they had this guy that was supposed to be the expert that they were interviewing on the radio. And I'm like, wait a minute. The
psychologist.
The interviewer gets to sit at the table. The interviewee has to stand up at a microphone. That just seemed odd to me. I don't know why. Why wouldn't the guy being interviewed be sitting at the table with him? It's not like he's doing a dramatic reading or anything.
Oh, it felt like he was kind of.
Winged monster slays new victim.
Yeah.
Okay.
Jeff, I do like what you're talking about because it always bothers me. That and when people just about invite themselves to be killed, it's like, I know you're the guilty one, and I'm going to go to the police right now. And what are you going to do about it? The two of us standing here in a locked room with you holding a gun, huh?
No one around for miles.
First, I think you should shave. All right. I think we're done with Devil Bat. It's fun movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
We got that one out of the way. And we do have some
talked about it much longer than the actual movie.
We did.
You could have watched the movie.
We have a bunch of feedback.
Cool.
First one is from episode 46, The Haunting. From one of our contacts across the pond, Nick Gadman. And I don't know, Chad, you want to read that?
My good buddy Nick Gadman says, I was revisiting some DOH Classic Air shows. In particular, I wanted to hear your take on The Haunting, and Chad, you nailed it.
Well, there you go.
Should I go on?
That's usually when Bill says.
And that's all.
Okay. There's a section of that show where you point out camera zooms, visual cues, and aesthetics that were clearly lifted by Sam Raimi. I've been screaming about that for decades to anyone who will listen.
And that's why people run when they see Nick Gadman approaching them on the sidewalk.
He's always screaming about Sam Raimi.
Don't ask him about The Haunting, for God's sake.
That's awesome, Nick.
It was true, though. I mean, some of those weird zoom ins and moving of the camera and stuff like that was.
I need to watch that.
It was pretty cool. Pretty cool stuff. And I don't think there's any way Sam Raimi did not see that.
That's like 6 years ago.
Wow.
All right.
Okay.
And then one from on episode 146, Fantastic Voyage, from Chris Peters. Daphne.
Okay. Chris says, Fantastic Voyage is one of my favorite genre movies and a comfort film. Mikey's Prize was just wonderful. I love your relating going to see it when you were 12 or 13 on those passes. I'd sure love to see this theatrically with an audience.
Oh, I should have said that was a comment to me because I talked about we had these like scratch off bookmark things when you went into the theater, and then you had to go look at a list to see if you won something. And I got a couple of passes too.
Oh, cool.
Cool.
So yeah, and Chris, what he's talking about, Mikey Z, who has co-hosted on here, has a 3D printer, and he is apt to print something off 3D and send it to us. Yeah, you got the bat. Oh,
I should have had mine here.
I don't remember if I ever showed this one. My cowboy hat.
Oh.
Wow. Worn by Rory Calhoun.
It's big enough. Anyway. Oh, and then Bill, also we have the speaker of. I got so many things back there. I can take the next show to show all of them. My favorites. This is my favorite.
Maltese Falcon.
Yeah,
that's a good one.
It is so good.
Stuff that dreams are made of.
Anyway, so yeah, he made a model of the Fantastic Voyage ship for Chris.
Oh, cool.
Oh, wow.
Very cool.
Nice.
It was
actual size.
Well, at some point, yeah. Some point in that process, it was that size. Okay, and then on episode 200, Grue-Crew favorites from Andy L. Chad.
Andy says, congratulations to the Grue-Crew on reaching 200 in the classic era. Nice to hear the thoughts of you all on favorites of the decades. Definitely hard to narrow down to just a few choices and to not cite the obvious choices only. Really appreciate hearing Joseph again, as I've always enjoyed his insights. Yeah, we were glad he was back.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry Erin wasn't available to join you all as well. Yeah, she's always missed. She was always excellent on the podcast, and another one missed since she left.
Yep, she added some good viewpoints. Yep.
Yeah. Looking forward to the next 200, Andy L.
Nice.
Well, it must have been on a different decades of horror, but they commented that they wanted to thank Bill for describing the images for people who were listening in their car.
Oh,
because a lot of times we just skip that and go, "Oh wow, that's a great poster," and people are driving along. Yeah.
It's easy to forget. Yeah.
Then they have to go over to the YouTube channel and subscribe. And like the video.
And the guy watching, it's like, oh, the pictures in my head movies were way better than this.
And then another one from Chris Peters, Daphne.
Watching the favorites upload, all 3 Quatermass films will make for great episodes. Same with the Spanish Dracula and the Devil Bat. Such a variety.
This is true.
Yep.
Okay.
I do want to do it. That's in my brain now. The 2 Quatermass, because I know Quatermass Experiment is now on Prime right now.
Oh, cool.
How long that will last. And the Spanish Dracula. Okay, for episode 201, Kira Nako from Sound of Silence, and I think we've actually deciphered this between all of us giving input. I'll go ahead and read this because it's a little. I had to splice some stuff in, try to figure it out. Daphne picked a great one. It's a powerful movie. Yes, it is. Also see Die series, and I was thinking maybe he meant the Die. The Yokai Monster series is Die, or maybe he meant there's what's the other ones from the earlier 60s with the giant
Dimagion?
Yeah. Yes, yeah. So I'm not exactly certain. And there's a movie called Adventures of the Die or something like that. There's also one called The Living Skeleton, 1968, a Shochiku film. If you I've
thought about watching that one before. Yeah.
Yeah. If you like Matango, you'll love The Living Skeleton. Pirates capture a ship and kill everyone aboard. Later, a phantom ship and ghosts come for revenge on the pirates. Great horror film. I went and watched this. Oh, Lordy. The third act is takes a decidedly dark turn. Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah.
That movie haunted me because I had I had this big book of horror films, and there was one picture of a Japanese woman, and there's a skeleton in the back and I'm like, wow, how'd they pull that off? And so I've wanted to watch that ever since.
Well, the skeletons aren't very realistic. They kind of look like Day of the Dead trinkets hanging, but who cares? It was a great idea. And they had chains wrapped around their legs underwater. And then the other thing that just is totally freaky is this acid that they got on the ship, and they throw it on. Whoa! It's just when it starts to eat them up, they use a really nice effect.
It's an interesting story. It's a good story.
I agree with you,
I like it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's basically a story of lost love and revenge, and and then Nick Gadman on Kuroneko. Where are we at, Bill?
Sure. Nick Gadman says, "Oh wow, thanks. Geopolitics have kept me at arm's length from the internet lately. Good move. Hence the delay, but this shout out is heartwarming. I'll definitely get this movie watched and listen to the show in context. It's always nice when we do a movie that's a little obscure even to us and like it enough that encourage other people to go see it too. Because you think we've scraped everything and now we're at the bottom of the barrels, but no, there's still a lot of good stuff out there to talk about, and even good stuff to talk about we haven't seen, and that's great.
Well, and what he's talking about a little bit in terms of a shout out is he was our guest host when we did and picked Anibaba. We were letting the guest host pick them, and he picked that one. So he introduced us to Shindo. So I mentioned that in the comment on the Facebook page. So that's what this is from. Yeah, I hope to hear what you think of that, Nick, when you get done.
Yeah,
it's great to hear from you again. And then lastly, from Thunderhead Jones 9920, Chad.
Isn't it Daphne's turn?
No.
I swear, I hate this guy. I love our listeners. Okay, I love everybody that writes in.
And you always get to read his stuff too.
Yeah, I wonder how that happens every time.
I don't know. I just started and went down the road.
Yeah.
Okay, sure. That's why you decided to take that one, because then it would work out numerically for you. Can't fool me. Okay. Thunderhead Jones says, "This is the first time I've ever seen Cucamonga and enjoyed it quite a bit. It just had too many samurai in it. It was good to see Dirk there to class up the joint."
Ooh,
He did
that
class
sounds
up
like
the joint.
that does sound like a backhanded compliment there.
Yeah. Cucamonga.
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 Ayada.
Kokomo.
Kuroneko.
Cucamonga.
Kuroneko. All right. Well, hey, we love our comments, so keep them coming. Thanks to everybody from Nick Gadman, Chris Peters, Andy L, and Sound of Silence. Thanks for pointing out those the living skeleton, because I actually had that in that Shochiko Comes to Horror or something like that box set, but I hadn't watched that one yet. So you prompted me to go see that. It's worth it. All right. Oh, and Thunderhead Jones.
No, he's not worth the skin he's printed on. Okay.
There's plenty of ways to stay in touch. Best way is probably to leave comments on the Gruesome Magazine YouTube channel, or you can just send emails to feedback@gruesomemagazine.com. We also have a Facebook group, Gruesome Magazine's H&R and DOH podcast Facebook group, or even on the website if you check out the blogs. We really do appreciate them. We also have a Patreon option where Decades of Horror, normally we record them about 2 weeks ahead of time, but in particular on Classic here, we've been behind on that. But what we do is if you're a Patreon member, which is, I think it's like $2 or $3 a month, you can get the Decades of Horror episodes usually the day after we record them. The reason we schedule them out 2 weeks is to cover us in case we have to reschedule. And that's what happened with Kuroneko. We actually had to record Kuroneko like 2 days before it was scheduled to be published. So that's why Kuroneko did not go out as a Patreon exclusive. So apologize for that, folks. I think I explained that at the beginning of that episode, but if you're wondering where it went, that's where it went. So that's it for this episode. But every 2 weeks, we'll be focusing on another specific film released between 1920 and 1969. Next up is what's chosen by Bill. What are we doing, Bill?
Well, see, this is an interesting one. Just show the difference between a favorite movie and a good movie. And Eugene Laurie made the same dang movie 3 times. 3 times.
The Beast from 20,000 Fathoms.
Beast from 20,000 Fathoms. He went back to the well for Gorgo. And in between, he made what is definitely the cheapest and not the best of this trilogy, but probably my favorite for a bunch of reasons that I'll have to ponder about and explain. It is either the Giant Behemoth, if you're an American and you don't realize how stupid it is to call a movie the Giant Behemoth, as opposed to the regular size Behemoth.
Yeah,
or,
it's like the Giant. Right?
Yeah, the Giant. Manos, the hand
monstrous
of fate.
monster.
The hand of fate. Or if you're British, Behemoth the Sea Monster. But either way, it's got stop motion animation by the great Willis O'Brien and Pete Peterson. It's got some cool radioactive effects, and it's really, really cheap. And because it was really cheap, the special effects people had to use some tricks, and it's just got a look that is different from any other giant monster on the loose. And I just love it to death for all its many flaws that I will point out. But it's a lot of fun.
All righty.
Cool. If you like the Black Scorpion, you're going to love the Giant Behemoth.
I love the Black Scorpion.
Yeah, it's by the same guys.
It's not as good a story as them, but I love the effects on that. I grew up on watching Black Scorpion over and over again.
Glorious black and white.
All righty. I think that's it.
No, not already.
Chad, would you like to close this out?
No.
Want to redeem yourself with your Lugosi impersonation?
Catch us again here.
All right. In 2 weeks for another great horror movie of the classic era, as only decades of horror can do it. Say goodnight, guys.
Good night, guys.
Good night, guys.
Gruesome Magazine.